I know you. God Killer. What is it you want from me? Is it a god of war you came to find?
At number 1, it is obviously, as it was also the longest awaited game of the year, we've got over here God of War Ragnarok. To me, simply the idea that someone just wouldn't enjoy the hell out of this game is almost impossible. Specifically, if you have played the previous games, guys. God of War Ragnarok is bolder, bigger in scale, graphically amped up, and no longer just a father-son story, but a much more varied and advanced entry. If you have got what it takes to take this game and give it a shot, don't even give it a second thought.
Sure about that?
Pretender god! For the old father!
Death can have me when it earns me.
What do you even know of Godhood? In your lifetimes, has anyone ever worshipped you? Ever prayed to you? Can you even imagine that kind of love? No! You don't care about anything beyond yourself. Beyond the monster who kills without cause.
My son detected.
Grab him. Hey, what are you doing?
Coming up behind that, we've got over here the Callisto Protocol. Let me just break it down as to why this game isn't that well received. For those of you who haven't given it a shot yet, this game is absolutely, first of all, not the next Dead Space in any way. However, it could be summed up to a great start of a new IP. The game is visually next level in story and gameplay. It does really actually deliver, and only dimmed down by a few technical issues. The game is scary, genuine, and very, very satisfying in combat.
Everything was so nice and quiet, and so I told him that maybe it was over. Come on, come.
Moving on to number 3, we've got over here the one and only survival game, A Plague Tale Requiem. This is simply everything that one could ask from a sequel to an original game. Do you guys remember what Dead Space 2 did compared to the original game? Well, Requiem over here is exactly that and even more. See, graphically the game is first a next generation console exclusive. It's more action-packed, scarier, more ambitious, and it is definitely one of the few must-buy games for anybody that came out in 2022. Play it if you haven't already.
It's time to put an end to Operation Kraken.
At number 4, we've got over here Sniper Elite 5. Well, basically, if you've played previous Sniper Elite games, you already know what you're gonna get with this one. If you haven't then, let me just say that it is an upgrade in every department compared to all games in its series, but just a tad shy from being a total masterpiece. The game's stealth mechanics are amazing, the gameplay is impressive, and the AI is pretty good too, and most importantly, the sniping itself is just so satisfying.
Hello, Fabba. They call the rising sun.
At number 5, well, from a tad over a month ago, by Flying Wild, the same studio behind all Shadow Warrior games, we've got over here Evil West, one of the more nostalgia throwbacks to the old classic testosterone-pumping action games. Well, halfway what you get by mixing the action of the God Hand game, some Devil May Cry thrown in for good, and slightly a few hints of Gears of War. The game is a true next-generation console and PC port in visuals and gameplay and in story. It is actually quite rich.
What the hell?
Evil never sleeps, but it bleeds.
The only thing the hunter needs is his golden and a gun. And the only time he'll be satisfied is when leeches rot in the sun.
As a first game in the list to have been released and praised the most in 2022 on all platforms actually, we've got over here of course Elden Ring, the single biggest game of the year in scale, details, story, lore, and most importantly gameplay. I mean, literally almost every single website and magazine out there since the game's release has given it a 10 out of 10. I have said it before, I'll say it again, if you do like the idea of a very challenging open world, history, fantasy, action RPG, well, Elden Ring is just about exactly the only choice you have. Sitting on Steam with almost overwhelmingly positive review scores. We've got over here by Squanch Games, High on Life. This is perhaps the most irrelevant AAA at the same time comedy first-person shooter that came out for the past few years. I would say bizarre is the word that could describe the game as perfect, but the kind of game that you're gonna need an extra pair of hands to just hold your guts throughout the whole game. That's just for the comedy part. If you do like cynical jokes, just like the Rick and Morty show, this game offers precisely that, some really well-tuned gameplay mechanics, and a lot more. Probably the best game Fat Shark Folks has ever created. Guys, Warhammer Dark Tide came out precisely a month ago, and ever since it's just been amongst the highest praised entries of the entire series' lifetime. The game has one of the most satisfying, most entertaining and fastest co-op elements ever since Left 4 Dead came out. The game's performance is addicting, balanced to almost perfection, and as a Microsoft exclusive, it's a must-buy. For first-person shooter fans, you might also want to know that the game is literally bug-free.
What the hell is that? You're in for a fight now. Do me proud. Still alive? Good.
Those goons need attention!
Get moving. Extraction inbound. Move it. Move your asses.
The Raven Clan is spreading a dangerous alien drug across the globe. They call it the Seed.
Moving on, we've got over here the much awaited Gungrave Gore. This is perhaps the oldest game in the list to have been in development since Reveal. Gungrave is, in my opinion, for the fans of the series and the show itself, it is very action-packed and comedy-infused, but nothing that you could say at times break any sort of limit. It's just an old-fashioned over-the-top action hack and slasher, and quite frankly, one of the lesser praised games of 2022. Is it good though? In case you're wondering, absolutely yes.
Stop the Raven Clan. And whatever you do, don't stop shooting.
He's alive. Where?
The single best remake released in 2022. Guys, at number 11, it's of course The Last of Us Part 1 Remake. This is a phenomenal entry point for those of you who haven't played the first one yet. The game is so carefully crafted and upgraded that most of the times you easily forget which one's the reality on the screen. Even if you have ever played the original game when it came out in 2014, Part 1 Remake over here has the power to make it all feel new, fresh, with a better performance, 4K resolution, higher frames, and a lot more. Check it out just in case you missed it.
There's too many of them!
You ready to haul ass? Come on.
Do you even realize what your life means?
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of?
Money, weapons, intel. He's planning something.
Sergeant McTavish, welcome to the City of Souls. There are few here to uphold the law, and many of those who resist corruption.
Another Call of Duty with the same old fun combat and a 7-hour campaign to go with it. Guys, perhaps for once, exactly what the fans of the series had asked for has been delivered over here by Activision with some next level visuals, even faster combats and weapons on top of a very well made and bigger multiplayer section. The maps are even bigger in the game, it has more content of course, and much more generous in unlockables, content, and replay value.
Things take planning and preparation.
These things take violence and timing. I can do both. Go, Johnny! Get out of there!
Would you mind telling us whence you hail?
I'm from another world, one that's far away in the sky.
One of the most exotic JRPGs of the past few years. At number 12 over here we've got Star Ocean The Divine Force, the one entry that's probably a must-buy for every single fan of the series, and a much more advanced entry in core gameplay, action, and most importantly the characters themselves. The game's legitimate in content and only tuned down by a lack of innovation. However, whatever it does lack in depth, it does make up for in both story and nostalgia.
Memphis was once a great city, but now it lies in ruins. Dangerous beasts roam the streets, and most people have lost their minds and hunger for stardust.
Coming up behind that, we've got over here, once again, Asterigos Curse of the Stars. This is a third-person action RPG set in a world inspired by the Greek mythology. Now, while the game's much in the same vein as the 2021 game Phoenix Rising, albeit a bit more action-packed and then just a tad more Souls-like, or just Souls-cloned. As a trailer, game's utterly faithful to the original Dark Souls formula in every way and quite vibrant in looks, albeit a little less advanced compared to Phoenix Rising. And last but not least, by the one and only Anapan Interactive, we've got over here Stray. This is the most innovative in gameplay and setting game that the companies ever came up with. This is a semi-open world action-adventure platformer, in case you didn't know, just about the life of a cat that has fallen into an isolated city populated by robots in some distant future. Game sitting on Steam with a 10 out of 10 review score. It's got a 20% off and it'll take you down for $20 now.